Hello everyone. So today we will see how we can approach the long type questions in a biology Olympiads. Basically, see what happens in the long questions. There is given a paragraph, and based on that paragraph, the questions are asked. You must have some basic knowledge about that particular questions. You can't extract all the answers from the given paragraph. Okay, yeah, but in most of, if you have basic knowledge or information about that particular question, and then you can easily extract that answer. For solving any IOQB questions in the long type, I will suggest some tips about these questions. So first thing, you must solve these questions at last. You don't have to solve the questions by seeing that it is of 2 marks or 3 marks, so solve this early so that it will give you good marks. No, long questions takes times. You have to give up appropriate time for solving that long questions, paragraph based question. So in my advice, solve these long questions at last. Okay, for this, first after solving the short questions, then switch to the long question. Then how you have to approach the particular question, I will also give you an example by solving a question which was requested by a student. Okay, so you have to first read whole paragraph and question and all the options in quick review. You can say in maximum 1 minute. Take a overview of all the questions and options what the question wants. Basically, see, many of us waste our time in reading the paragraph lines, and many a times it happens that it has no relevance with the questions that has asked in the that top particular paragraph. So there is no relation in between that. You can easily extract that answer from the given graph. You have not even again read the whole paragraph. You can even extract that option from the graph or any pictorial representation. So don't waste too much time by restarting reading line by line and understanding all the terms. First, take a quick overview of all the questions and options. Then, after taking quick overview of the options and questions, switch over to the again for the para and look for your answer. Okay. Now again, by reading the paragraph, you will come across the many terms and terminologies or word even you heard for the first time. Okay, even you don't know about any word, then don't worry. Many a time it happens, so we start to think, I don't know about this word, so it will be quite difficult to solve that question. In most of the questions, you have to use our basic knowledge, and even if you don't know the basic terminology which is given in question, you can solve it out. I will give the example. Okay, so two sort of advice: first, solve at last; second, first take a quick overview of all the questions and options, then come to the questions. Now let me explore it by solving an IOQB question of the previous year. It was question number 52. In order to study the effect of radiations of two amphibian species, Crinia signifera and Litoria verreauxii, in an area, the following experiment was carried. Three identical artificial tanks were established at each of the two elevations. Six trays were set up in each tank. Equal number of embryos of one of the two frog species was placed in each tray. In each tank, two trays received unfiltered sunlight, two received sunlight filtered to remove the UVB, and two received filtered sunlight that allowed UVB transmission. The number of surviving individuals was counted thrice a week for 4 weeks. The result of experiment is shown in graph. So, as to first viewing the question, even if you don't know anything, you will be quite confused. What are these species? You don't know about these species, amphibian species. So, okay, and there are three identical tank. You will start to create a image of what it is given in question. But first of see, don't think anything about that question. What is it is given in graph? Come quickly to the options. Okay, basically what it is has asked is choose the correct option and put a tick mark, and based on this experiment what result we can deduce. Okay, so now seeing the option, both Serena signifera and Litoria verreauxii are most susceptible to the UVB in all conditions. See, our all the answers are given in graph. We can deduce all the option from only this graph. There is no meaning of this paragraph reading again. Basically what it's saying that three tanks were artificial tanks were created at different levels. Okay, it has given the length of established two elevation only, not given the tank elevation of the third tank. Okay, so basically the third tank is taken as a reference for the ground. Okay, now come to the question again. In each tray they has placed six tray each tank. Okay, now what have they done that equal number of amphibian species clustered. They have taken two amphibian species given as a name. One is Crinia and one is Litoria. Okay, and they have allowed three conditions. They have provided three conditions for each species. First, they have provided unfiltered sunlight. Again, they have provided a filtered but UVB blocked light. Okay, now thirdly, they what have they done? They have provided filtered UVB allowed. They have filtered all other wavelength light which is extra but have allowed UVB. Okay, now from the options you would see both Cernia and Litoria are most susceptible to the UVB in all conditions. Now if you see UVB is most in these two. One, unfiltered sunlight also include UVB, and filtered UVB allowed also include the UVB light. Now taking this tick marks line, we can expect that yeah in this condition also UVB we affect the most. In this option also, in this graph also show that UVB has affected the most, this graph also. But see, from these three graphs we can conclude that first option is right, but it has given in all condition. When you come to the second graph, see here, both species are in all conditions. So in the second graph, the UV rays of B wavelength have the same effect as filtered or unfiltered. Okay, so basically what I am saying that the UVB and unfiltered sunlight. Okay, see graph 2. UVB and unfiltered sunlight have same effect. It means the unfiltered sunlight also includes wavelength other than the UV rays of B subtype. Okay, so unfiltered sunlight don't only include the UVB, it include almost different wavelengths light. But filtered UVB is allowed, so it content especially about the UVB. So they both have same effect. So we cannot conclude that UVB has most susceptible in all conditions. Yeah, UVB is susceptible in almost every cases, but there are exceptions here in second graph. So in here in all condition is wrong. Okay, it is quite confusion. But see here, only in second graph we can conclude that there is not in all condition. Yeah, the UVB is susceptible but for most cases, but not for all the conditions. Okay, so this option we can eliminate from here. Now second, UVB could lead to greater decrease in Sirenia signifera population at higher elevation. See here, we can compare from graph. We have don't to read the again the paragraph. If I have not done that, I have not reviewed the question instantly and started to read line by line and understanding and giving the time to the each line of the paragraph. What would happen? There would be no any beneficial, rather I would lose my time, and which may left us some questions at the last. Okay, so If we have read that option, so we know that there is no beneficial. We can all derive all the our options or our answer from this graph. So by second option, UVB could lead to greater decrease in senior signal at higher elevation. See, UVB has almost same effect what at higher elevation. At both levels, UVB have same probability of making the organism die. Okay, so there is no, you can even if you see the option by taking the with probability of dying mark, you will come across the same lining. There is hardly any change, you will suspectable. Okay, so this option is also wrong. Now coming to the question, option number C, wavelengths other than UVB affect amphibian populations the most at all elevations. See, wavelengths other than UVB, here it is also given in most at all elevation. In one, in most of the cases, what has happened is UVB has been most suspectable, and UVB has been making the most organism die in most of the cases, and most at all elevations. At all elevations, even if you see wavelength other than UVB are not causing any effect. It is of the least effect wavelength other than UVB, which is represented by the straight dark line in the black border. Okay, so it is causing the least effect. So this option is absolutely wrong. Now coming to our last option, susceptibility to UVB could contribute to disappearance of Litoria verreauxii from higher elevation. Yeah, you can match that option. Susceptibility. 1 minute, clear that page. Yeah, sorry. So UV contribute to disappearance of Litoria. Comparing about these two graphs, what happened at higher graph? See, at higher graph, this line represent the filtered with UVB high concentration. So this is affecting more organism as compared to the first which at lower elevation. So this option is right. We can compare. So basically, what I was trying to say that कि आपको जो भी क्वेश्चन है, आप अगर पूरा टाइम अपना टाइम ज़्यादा पैराग्राफ पे जो शब्द आपको समझ नहीं आ रहे हैं, या ऐसे क्वेश्चंस जो ऐसे दिए हैं जो उनको आपका कोई पहले आप पढ़े भी ना हो, तो उसको देख के मत डरिए। पहले आप पूरा क्वेश्चन एक बार क्विक रिव्यू कर लीजिए 1 मिनट में, कम से कम टाइम में जितना, और उसके बाद कोशिश कीजिए कि जो ग्राफ दिया हुआ हो या कोई आपका पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन हो, उससे ज़्यादा आपका डाटा एक्सट्रैक्ट हो जाता है अधिकतम क्वेश्चंस में। तो बार बार एक एक लाइन आपका ग्राफ का उतना यूजफुल नहीं होता है, और उस पर टाइम शुरुआत में ही वेस्ट मत करें। ओके, और बेस्ट ऑफ लक फॉर योर एग्जामिनेशंस। थैंक यू।